Listening to your parents' advice for absolutely everything that you do is not something you should be doing. And most likely it's tarnishing your goals, your dreams, where you want to get to, and the things you want to achieve in your life. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my parents. Maybe they're watching this now, and I ask them for advice on things all the time. You know, relationship advice, general life advice. I will ask my parents. But you also need to consider the fact that people give advice based on their experience, right? So I'll tell you a story. When I first decided that I wanted to start making money online, right, I wanted to try and go down this unconventional path that not a lot of people had done or no one I knew had done. And, I wasn't going to go to university and I was going to give something a go. Now, when I spoke to my parents and briefly sort of mentioned this to them, first initial reaction is, what the hell are you doing? Why are you looking at doing this? Just take the normal path, go down the normal route, go to university. And this video isn't about university or any of that. It's just about the fact that you need to be careful who you take advice from. If I'm having issues with my lower back, then I'm going to go and speak to an osteopath because they're very experienced in that region, right? They're going to be able to give me good advice. If I'm having relationship problems, then I might speak to a therapist, or maybe I will speak to my parents. They've been happily married for 25 years. They're clearly doing something right. So I'm going to ask for their advice when it comes to relationships because they're clearly well versed in it. But when it comes to career path, when it comes to making money online, is that something my parents have ever done? No, it isn't. So going and asking for their advice on it when they, not that it's their fault, but they have no experience with it, probably isn't the best decision. That would be like me going and asking a pilot the best way to swim front crawl to get the fastest time in a 50-meter race. The pilot has no experience, so why would I ask him? But yet, when we make big decisions in our lives, we ask people closest to us for advice. Naturally, of course you're going to do that. I don't blame you for doing that, and it's something that I would do as well. But you need to take it all with a pinch of salt. Yes, don't get me wrong, your parents, you've grown up with them. You've always asked for their advice. They've looked after you. They've cared for you. They've told you what to do throughout your life. But it comes to a point where you need to start making decisions for yourself. Your own intuition kicks in. You start thinking, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe that path isn't for me. Maybe I want to do things differently. Maybe I want to go travel the world. Maybe I want to, try and make money online, whatever it might be. Maybe I want to become an athlete, right? And your own intuition kicks in. But again, when we make big decisions in our lives, we ask the people closest to us for advice. And, that's normal, like I've said, but these people closest to us are not well versed in giving advice on what we want. Unless your mum or dad is a professional swimming coach and you want to be an Olympian and swim in the Olympics, maybe take their advice then. But any other reason, you shouldn't. You need to look at the people you're taking advice from and consider, are these people doing the thing that I want to do? Are these people living the life that I want to live? Right? And when I look at my parents, and this is absolutely no disrespect to them at all, my dad's a successful guy. My mum, is successful as well. They're happily married. They've had 3 children. They have had success in their life for sure. But when I look at what they were doing career-wise, when I look at what my dad was doing, was it something that I wanted to do? Not really. No, it wasn't. So taking his advice on my career move and what I wanted to do probably wasn't the best decision, which is exactly why when I decided that I wanted to start making money online, I wanted to give sales a go, right? And I wanted to try and go down this unconventional route. I didn't tell my parents what I was doing at the time. I invested all my money into a coach to help me do it because I knew that if I'd spoken to my mum about this, she would have tried to convince me not to do it. And I don't blame her for that because she gives advice based on the experiences that she has had, just as anyone does. And she has never had experience doing online remote sales before. So of course, she's going to be skeptical. Of course, she would probably tell me and try and convince me not to do it, which is why in my head I realized I can't deal with that negativity. So I'm not going to tell her and I'm just going to go with my own tuition, going to go with my own gut and do it anyway. And that was the single best decision that I made, was going with my gut and going with my own tuition and just doing it anyway, right? And that leads to another thing, is that your parents care for you. Your parents love you, right? Well, I hope they do anyway. So they want the best for you, right? So if I put it like this, let's say you had a friend, your best friend came up to you and said, look, Ben, I'm considering investing £5,000 into a crypto coin. Do you think I should do it? Do you think I should do it? Most people are probably going to say no, right? Because one, they probably don't really know much about the crypto coin. And two, the main thing is they don't want to be responsible. They don't want to say, yeah, do it. He puts the money in, and then Ben comes back to you, 6 months later and goes, yeah, I lost all that money. You're going to feel a little bit of responsibility because you told him to do it. And it's the exact same with this. It's the exact same with making any kind of decision. If someone takes a big leap, you don't want to be responsible. So you're going to always say, yeah, you could do it, but, don't take my advice. That's why people always say when they give advice at the end, they always go, but no, listen to yourself, because they don't want to take that responsibility. And your parents, they care for you. They love you. So what are they going to do? They're going to try and protect you as much as possible. And protection is not doing something hard. Protection is not doing something that could result in catastrophe. Right? So take my example. I could have gone to university, or I could have tried to make money online. As a parent, what's the advice you're probably going to give? It's probably going to be go to university, because the worst case, they go uni, maybe they don't like it so much, maybe they're not super fulfilled, but at least they're all right. Things could be worse. Whilst if you try and go down an unconventional route, they start thinking worst case scenario. Oh my God, things are going to go terribly wrong. They're going to lose all their money. They're going to be unhappy. They're going to be living with us for the rest of their lives and never actually do anything. They start catastrophizing. So what are they going to do? They're going to protect you. And they're going to give you the advice that's going to protect you because they care about you, right? And that advice, most likely, is going to be don't take the risk. But that's the last thing you need to hear when you're listening to your gut and when you're taking a big step in your life. So the point of the video is that, look, of course they're going to want you to take less risk. And secondly, is of course, listen to your parents with things 100%. Some things, for sure, I will ask my parents for advice. But parents aside, anyone aside, be careful who you take advice from. And look, is this person doing what I want to do in this region that I'm asking advice for? Is this person well-versed in giving me advice? If they are, great, listen to them. If there's someone you want to be in a certain thing, I've given this example quite a lot. If you want to become an Olympian, then take advice from an Olympian because they have done what you want to do, right? But in the same breath, if you want to be an Olympian, don't take advice from your mum who worked at Tesco's for 20 years of her life and has no experience in how to become an Olympian. Right? Be careful who you take advice from, and remember that you see everything through tinted lenses because you're asking people around you for advice. Yes, they're your friends. Yes, they love you. Yes, they want the best for you. But that doesn't mean they're going to give you the best advice. So make sure you take everything with a pinch of salt. And when you ask for that advice, remember to look at the person you're asking from and go, are they doing what I want to do in the region or the thing that I'm asking advice on? And if they're not, then I wouldn't listen to them.